Hey there, you're listening to We're Just Talking About It. This is Season 3, Episode 6. We wrap up our conversation with our guest Sabir today, talking about interfaith communication and how we have these conversations and why they're so important. We hope you enjoy this episode. We wanted to touch on the importance of interfaith work and kind of trying to get rid of that othering, the xenophobia, and why that's important and how we go about doing that.
Where? Like globally, regionally, Afghanistan, the U.S.?
Yeah, maybe we start kind of big picture, and then we can talk about what's happening in America and what's happening in Kabul.
I don't know. I'm interested in the topic, and when I came to the U.S., I did some interfaith work myself, especially with the Jewish community here in New York. But at global level, there are some things happening. I think Pope has been very outspoken, and he has visited a number of Muslim countries, and he has met with a lot of Muslim religious leaders. So there's that bridge, I think, globally. There's that idea, but I don't think it's robust enough. I don't think that it's, and partly maybe because in Islam we don't have someone like a pope, and everybody, every country has their own mufti or their own religious
ayatollahs or whatever.
Ayatollahs, yeah.
I think that makes it very hard.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. It's not robust enough, but it is tricky. And even in Christianity, I mean, the Pope only speaks for really the Catholics, although he kind of
exactly.
Speaks for all
that's
Christians,
another
but,
thing. Yeah,
it's just a piece of Christianity. He certainly isn't speaking for the Southern Baptist Church Association, whatever these groupings are. So
or the Unitarians or
the
others.
Episcopalians. I mean, you name it. It's hard to have those large global discussions and have them make an impact. Although I think they're important. I don't know sometimes what their impact is.
Yeah. I think the message is the messaging is really important when it comes to people like Pope or even like people like Ayatollahs, when they say something for peace, when they encourage people for peace and dialogue, and when they say something nasty, it also resonates with people. Yeah. So it's very because a lot of people or like it or not are religious. Recently, the Mufti of Mecca has been saying things that especially in Afghanistan, people have welcomed, because especially against it, they have said something that I think it was against killing Muslims and jihad and things like that. That was very well received by Afghans.
Yeah, kind of pointing out that the Taliban are not standing on very strong Islamic ground in what they do. There's no justification.
There's no justification. Yeah. That's what the Mufti of Mecca said.
Yeah, I think those are very useful at the global level. I think those kind of statements, you're right, can have an impact at the local level.
Huge impact. Yeah. It also inspires people. When you see somebody like Pope says something, and you get inspired. It doesn't matter if you're Catholic or not, or Muslim or not.
That's true. And so you've taken part in some interfaith work here in America. How did you find that? Did you find that to be useful, and how did you stumble into it?
I think it's useful, at least, to the very least, for educational purposes. When I came to the U.S., I knew little about other religions, except for one of my religion classes that I took at the American University of Afghanistan, where I briefly learned about Christianity and Buddhism and Judaism and stuff like that. But here in New Jersey and New York, I got involved with the Jewish community, and I learned so much more. And the fact that there's so many similarities, there's between the two religions, Islam and Judaism, was very shocking to me. The communities, they have some communities here in Brooklyn that resembles communities in Kandahar. Wow. What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's That's the point I take away the most from this interfaith work is if you can get people to see the similarities that they never knew it existed. So, I mean, you growing up in Afghanistan and Pakistan, you're not going to hear a whole lot about how the Jewish community in Brooklyn acts and lives, or the Jewish communities anywhere. You just will never come across that information unless you seek it out.
So
or,
just exposure to
that
things.
exposure to it.
Yeah.
It's that question of how do you have these interfaith conversations with the people who could benefit the most. There's this idea that some people only read literature that confirms what they already think, or they only talk to people who already agree with what they have to say. So it's really hard to get these interfaith conversations started because you're asking people to maybe do something that they're uncomfortable with or don't want to do.
So you're right. It's really like hard to get people to talk or sit in the same room or have a dinner together or something, especially like those core beliefs. For instance, the whole concept of Trinity goes against all what a Muslim believes. So how can But there are ways to engage, and in New York. The little work that I've been involved with the Jewish community, also actually with other communities, they're trying to find things that are common, so the issues that are common. For instance, in New York, the issue of refugees is something that faith communities have found some understanding upon, that they need to intervene and they need to help. Because it doesn't matter what faith they believe in, but these refugees come from different parts of the world, and that they practice different religions, but when they come here, they have similar problems.
Yeah,
whether it's housing, whether it's getting government assistance or whatever. Those are the kind of things those are some of the topics that they have been working on here in New York.
Yeah, that's a great example. I was asked to go speak to a Christian church in D.C. that was helping Syrian refugees. And so they asked me to come in and give them, because that's my specialty, is Islam 101 for people who know nothing about it. How can I explain this in a not a super religious way? And so we had that conversation for a couple hours just so they could know the basics of Islam as they're Christians trying to help Muslim refugees. And you're right, it does. It broke down. No one was talking about why they were different. We were just trying to figure out how do you ensure that their transition is better here, and what is that going to take? How do we deal with their religious needs as well?
Yeah. I mean, in New York also they're trying to find like textual similarities, like whatever that is in the text.
Yeah.
That is similar. They want to talk about it. Such and such. That's also another way. But for me, it doesn't work. For me, it works when we are talking about the real human issues and how we can handle it as faith community or as political community and whatnot. But for some people, this is working here in New York, where they talk about such and such prophet said this, and such prophet said this, and in this text, or in the other text. So they do that too, a little bit.
That's kind of the theological, deep in the weeds of religious texts. I find people get kind of bored with that, as I've been doing this for 4 years now. If you start saying and compare the text from these two books, people are like, okay, I don't want to have it almost sounds like a college course on comparative literature. It just kind of can we go to something
but then you would be also picking and choosing like certain parts of your text. Okay, what about the rest of the book?
Yeah, exactly. If I ever bring up a specific verse from the Quran, the hands immediately go up. Oh, well, what about all the other verses? I'm like, if you want to sit and read the whole Quran together, this is going to be a long class. We're going to be here a while.
Jason says another method is just getting everybody around a table together for some food. That's a good way to get to know each other.
So actually, with the Jewish nonprofit organization that I was involved with, still I'm involved a little bit here in New York. They do a lot of dinners
Yeah.
and picnics, like potlucks and things like that, where people just meet and just talk about food. You don't have to talk about religion at all.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite catchphrases. I always explain to audience. I was just at a Catholic retirement home yesterday speaking with folks, and I'll be with the Methodist Church at the end of the month for a number of sessions. And I always explain to them, throw a party, have a potluck, have a feast, and invite people over. Don't worry about talking about religion, but just invite people from the mosque or the synagogue or the temple and just have food and talk. Once you introduce food into it, everything is neutral. Like, religion doesn't matter if there is good food in front of somebody. You're going to talk about food and just life in general, and all the similarities just start spilling out because you realize they're just other humans sitting there across from you, and they're trying to get on with life too.
Starting to wrap things up here, what are some of the misconceptions about Muslims or Islam you wanted to talk about?
With all honesty, like, there's so many misconceptions. There's so much, and the problem is that I don't know that we can solve this problem today through this show. But one thing I think that we need to understand, that, like, we are not infidels to each other, so it's like everybody's infidel to each other, so that I found really funny, where I go to when I read such and such text from this religion, and this religion is calling everyone else an infidel, and then this everyone. So for me, it's like, I'm not a religious expert or anything, but I if we find a way where we can not refer to that term, because that kind of, like, I don't know, that alienates an entire population. There's so much misconception. Because, like, maybe it's in the text, or maybe it's like it's all over. I think especially the educated people, they need to have an open mind about each other. Especially those who are practicing. Those who are not practicing seem to be. I don't want to judge here anybody, but I'm saying those who are not practicing, those who are in the progressive camp, I think they have put it behind the religion differences and misconceptions, but those who are, like, rigidly adhering to their religious beliefs. Again, I should be careful the way I say this, because it's not all. Because I know, like, there are good Muslims and good Christians and good Jews and good Hindus who are practicing, but they also don't have a lot of misconceptions about others. But there are some. There are some, and I think in every religion, and unfortunately, I think these misconceptions are usually politicized, and mostly they're politicized. Like, I can give you an example of my family. Like, since it's me, like, we were not allowed to. This is in Kabul. We were not allowed to socialize with people who are not Shia, let alone, like, be a Christian or a Jew or whatever. So, but obviously, I had to break that rule, and
yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah,
you're going to run into.
It's going to happen, but I'm saying that the way we tell our kids that, oh, that's such and such. And I lived in a war-torn country, it's a different context. But I see, like, even here in New York, like, there are some people who are teaching who are either intentionally teaching their kids not to mingle with others, or unintentionally, or they're not. They should encourage, I think, their children to get to know others. And I think, Jason, you also once tweeted about this, that about some sort of, like, interfaith work in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, it was a few weeks ago. But we need, like, interfaith work all over the world, I would say. Even in a country like Afghanistan, where we say 99% we're Muslims.
Yeah.
We have Sikhs who are not Muslims, and we should engage with them. We should talk with them. We never do. We never did in the past, except maybe for a few. But we treated our Sikh community like untouchables. You know, that's a misconception. You know, there was misconceptions about how they worshipped, and obviously they're worshiping differently than us.
I think that goes back to your original point there, and maybe that covers all of interfaith. We need to just stop seeing other people as infidels, or whatever word you want to use to describe them, as those other people that do that scary thing that you don't understand.
Yeah.
If you're teaching any child that, you're hurting that child, that they shouldn't associate with somebody who isn't just like them. And I still see it in America. I hear it from every sect and skin color and religion and economic class. I hear people say, you know, we don't want to be around people like that. And it's not that those other people are bad. They're just different. And parents will literally say things like that. Oh, I don't want you to marry outside of our religion, or I don't want you to marry outside of our race, or I don't want you to marry somebody who's richer or poorer than you. I want you to be with people just like us. And man, what a messed up world view to share it to a child, instead of be nice to everyone and make friends with everyone.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, you're right. When I came to the U.S. and talked to people here, yes, I found a lot of people who are open. They want to know. They want to know where I'm from, what religion do I practice, such as, blah, blah, blah. But I also found people who were like, no, we don't want to mingle, you know?
Yeah.
We don't want to socialize. I understand this thing happening in a country like Afghanistan where, like, for example, my family, we were my family, we were all in Kabul. We were going through a war. We have never met any foreign person in our lives. And there you had these conceptions, and now I can make sense of them. Like, we were like so detached from the rest of the world, and all we had was Islam, and all we had from Islam was Shia. Like, my family, they're Shia.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, Shiism was everything for us, and within the Shia, it's the 12 verse. We did not like the rest of the 12 verse, the rest of the Shias who were not 12 verse.
Yeah, even talk to the Seveners and Ismailis.
So it's like a lot of my friends were Ismailis, but my family were like, be careful with those people, and I was like, okay. As a child, I had no idea what to say and what to do, and then in school, we were taught the Hanafi.
Sure.
The Hanafi way of life, like prayers and whatnot. And when I came home, my dad would be like, pray this way. And I was like, that's different from what my teacher taught me. And they were like, no, those are Sunnis. And I was so confused.
We're not doing that.
Yeah, we're not doing that. And I actually would get punished to pray in Sunni way. So I was like, this is so confusing. Hopefully one day we realize. I mean, it's not that the issue of sectarianism is not that big of a big issue in Afghanistan right now, but those misconceptions exist. The concept of othering exists on tribal grounds, on sectarian grounds, language. Jason, you know this from Afghanistan. It's a big thing.
Sure.
I think maybe the solution is educating ourselves and trying to talk about it, and try to talk about it within our families. Like, I have 2 kids, and I talk to them always about this, and I tell them that, mingle with other people. I want you to learn about other religions. I want you to learn about science. You know. So just don't strictly follow one thing.
Right.
Try open up, try and learn. So we have to start from our families. Like, sometimes I find some people who label themselves as progressives and liberals and whatnot, and then they don't do actually a lot to educate themselves and their families about open-mindedness, about being eager to learn.
Yeah, we definitely got a problem with that in America today. There's people that have swung over to the other side. They think they're so tolerant, they've become intolerant. And so I run into that just booking places to go speak. I'll have, very conservative churches who don't know anything about Islam. They want me to come and they're curious. And then I'll have a more, so-called progressive organizations like, oh no, we don't need to hear you talk about Islam. We already know everything about it. I'm like, okay, my alarm bells are going off if you tell me you know everything you need to know about any topic. You're never done being a student, but okay. I love what you're doing with your kids, and I think we need more people doing that. That's really the solution. I sign every Quran, education and tolerance. I think that's the long-term solution to this. Is we educate more, we learn more about other people, and
we need to brainwash people. Like this is the bad term to use, but I'm telling you, we need to brainwash people to tolerate each other. That's it.
You're right.
Because a lot of people have been brainwashed to not tolerate each other.
Intolerance is easy. It's an easy button. If you just don't talk to those people and life is easier. But it doesn't make the world any better. You created that other, and now there's going to be issues down the road. Because after generation, they're going to become people who see others everywhere instead of people who see possible friends everywhere.
And I think it's
and especially with technology. Technology has been used in for good and evil reasons, purposes over the last since the beginning of internet, and unfortunately, right-wingers on both sides, on every side, on every religion, right-wingers, Puritans, they have misused it. Those who claim to be, educated, they either didn't know what to do with it, or they were also defeated. So I think we need to keep going. We need to keep going
around from every angle.
It's
frustrating.
It is really frustrating.
What's important and what you said is sometimes maybe the idea of like an interfaith conversation seems overwhelming, or maybe like, where do I actually go for that, or how do I do that? But I love what you said about starting at home. Like, what a great jumping off point for people who don't know where to get started or how to do this. Like, teach your children. And teach the people you're closest with, like, have conversations, talk about this kind of stuff, and that will spread. Don't worry about hosting an interfaith, dialogue. Just start with your kids or start at home. I think that's a great note to, like, give to people as something like, how can I get started?
Yeah, and especially in the countries like the United States and developed world, you have everything available.
Information at your fingertips.
There's if you want, you can contact Jason if you want to know about Islam.
Right.
So you can follow his Twitter, so there are lots of things to do. Obviously, there are a lot of bad information out there too. But you need to be careful what you bump into online. But it's out there, and there are a lot of Muslims in this country too. Like, there are mosques, there are Islamic centers and whatnot where you can go and learn. And also it would be good for those Muslim communities also, so they have visitors, they have people that are interested in them, they want to know about them, and they will probably feel more American.
I think that's the future of interfaith, and I'm trying to push people in that direction, that if you want to make, interfaith is hard to organize, but the simple thing you can do, if you're Muslim, you can explain Judaism in your mosque to your Muslim congregation. If you're a Christian, you can explain Islam to the Christians in your church, and in a respectful way, using facts, and that is interfaith. You're going to be stronger in your faith because you're explaining another faith to somebody. It's not a threat to you. You're not going to lose your congregation. You're not converting people. You're just starting that dialogue in a respectful way. It's an easy thing to do.
Or bring somebody, or bring like a priest. Or somebody to talk at your mosque,
Yep, it's easy. There are plenty of people that are willing to do it. I'm working with my local churches, and we're trying to get more people focused on it. Not to do anything political, just to talk.
Just to talk, just to like break the ice and just take it from there. No, I mean, what you guys are doing, it's really important, and there should be more of this. Excuse me. And there is. fortunately, there are people that are out there that are trying to make a change, make a difference, and you're not alone. From like I've seen it here in New York, I've seen it in Kabul. That there are people who are trying to start a dialogue. There are people who are trying to reach out. Hopefully, we can continue this.
We hope you enjoyed our episodes with Sabir, and thank you as always for listening. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at We're Just Talking About It, and you can email us at wjtanc@gmail.com.